Hi and welcome to the Media Studies option presentation. My name is Miss Kelly and I am the subject lead for media. So what is the media? Hopefully you'll know a little bit about it, but just as an introduction, media is about communication, particularly about mass communication with lots of people. The media creates products that are designed to entertain and inform us, and they are created for lots of people to hear, watch or read, often at roughly the same time. So they're competing for our attention. So whenever you are watching television, streaming films, scrolling through social media, listening to a podcast, you are consuming media. So what is media studies? Let's have a little look. It's the study of mass media, and when we refer to mass media, we are referring to newspapers, to radio, to TV, to advertising and marketing, e-media, so that's social media and online media, music and music videos, magazines and film. So these are the main components of the mass media. And when we study the mass media, we look at the 5 different points at the bottom. So we look at media language, or how the different types of media are made, what they're made up of, how they create meaning for us. We look at audience and how the audience is targeted. We look at media institutions, so we're looking at all the different types of company that make the media. We look at representation and the way people are represented and social groups are represented. And we look at media context, which is the time in which things were made and what was going on at the time that the different media products were made. So the GCSE course is made up of 2 exams and coursework. The exams make up 70% of your mark. There are 2 exam papers, and one is 40% and the other is 30%. So that's what they're worth. So component 1 is worth 40%, so that's the majority of the grade for the exams, and the second component is worth 30%. Coursework is also worth 30% of your grade, so in total that all comes to 100%, and it is a media production with a choice of briefs. And this year, so with the current year 11s, they are making a magazine, a special interest magazine. Just to go through very quickly what you will expect from your exam. First of all, in component 1, which is paper 1, section A, exploring media language and representation, which, like I said, is 40% of the grade. This assesses media language and representation, like it says there. And you will look at 2 of the print products that we study. So you won't be examined on every single product that we study, but obviously we don't know which product's going to come up in the exam, so we need to learn all of them. And you'll have 1 question assessing media language and another 2-part question assessing representation. And this is quite often a comparison question, and it'll ask you to compare one of our set texts to something that perhaps you haven't seen before. And then in section B of the first exam, you are then asked 2 questions on media industries and audience. So 1 question on media industries and 1 question on media audiences. And you could be asked a question on 2 of the following forms. So again, it won't be covering every form that we study, it will just pick 2. So that will be film, newspapers, radio, video games. And then paper 2, you'll have questions on TV and you'll have questions on music videos. And I'll be going over exactly which text we'll be studying in a moment. Here they are. So these are all of the texts that we will study for both component 1 and component 2. So we look at Pride and GQ for magazines. We look at James Bond, and specifically Spectre and the Man with a Golden Gun, for film and film marketing. We look at advertising, and we've got an advert there for This Girl Can and an advert for Quality Street. The Quality Street advert was made in the 1950s, and so we look at context there. We look at newspapers, specifically those two newspapers, The Guardian and The Sun. We look at Fortnite as the computer game. We look at The Archers, which is the radio product which we study, and we look at Luther for TV, and Bad Blood and Freedom by Pharrell for the music videos and online media. And we go into quite a lot of detail for each of those products. So hopefully you see something there that you think you might enjoy studying, hopefully more than one. Then for the non-exam assessment, the coursework. We, generally speaking, start this in the summer term of year 10. And there are 12 weeks to complete the project. It is worth around 60 marks and it's 30% of the GCSE. So we have some control over this. We can help you to get this really, really good so that you can get top marks for it. And then you've got 30% of your GCSE done and dusted. It does include planning and research. So you will be expected to research and plan your product. And you will be following a very specific brief. So you can't just do what you want. A brief is set by the examining board, and this will state explicitly what you need to do. The key concepts in a bit more detail here: media language, audience, media institutions, representation, and media context. So first of all, media language. When we discuss media language, we look at things like camera angles and shots. We look at lighting, we look at sound, layout and design, specifically in magazines and newspapers and advertising, that one. Typography, costume and props. So they're all different types of media language. Then we look at audience. So we look at how an audience is targeted, what appeal a programme or a media product has to an audience, how we as an audience might respond to a product. Think about something that makes you mad when you look at it on TV or film, or you read about it in the newspaper. Why are we responding like that? Different debates surrounding the media. There's a big debate going on at the moment about whether or not the media is biased, whether or not the media is even racist. And we'll be looking at these debates. And we also look at how we as an audience are positioned. We look at media institutions in terms of finance, how much money they make, how they make their money. Distribution, so how media products are distributed, how they're exhibited, how they're produced, who owns them, and how the media is global. Representation looks at how people are represented, and this ties in quite closely with audience as well as media language. We look at how people, places, events and issues are represented, and whether the representations are fair. And finally, we look at media context, so what is going on in the world when a media product is made. So for example, an historical product like the Quality Street advert, we'll be looking at what was going on in the 1950s, the sorts of issues that there were, people's places in society, and how this would have affected how an advert was made. So expectations. What expectations do we have for GCSE? So for media, I would expect you to have at least a passing interest in the media. Please don't take GCSE media studies if you think it's going to be easy. It really isn't easy. There's quite a lot of writing. You need to be able to have good, strong opinions and be able to write about your opinions. You need to complete all work that is set to the deadlines. So that's homework. Attend all your lessons and revision sessions. There will be revision sessions mainly in year 11, so you must come to those. If you have any queries, please contact me. My name is Miss Kelly, as I said, and my email address is on the screen there, are .kelly@harrisbeckenham.org.uk. Keep your books and folders neat. You will get a folder to keep all your coursework and to keep all your paperwork in. Please keep it neat, so you can revise from it easily. You will keep that from year 10 to year 11. Complete all your homework. That's a given. Engage in discussions during lessons and be prepared for folder and book checks at any time. So now we are going to do a quick quiz. I'm just going to introduce you to some concepts, part of the media language that we just looked at. And then we are going to see what you can see what you have noticed. So intertextuality, first of all. Intertextuality is something that we look at for media language. And intertextuality is when one media form references another media form within it. So this happens quite often in music videos, where a music video may reference a film. If you know the video to Bad Blood by Taylor Swift, that references quite a lot of films. If you don't know it, have a watch and see if you can see which films are referenced in it. Breaking the fourth wall. Now, this is something where in film and TV, the character acknowledges the camera and looks directly into the camera. Now, this doesn't generally happen in film and in things like soap operas or any fictional work that we watch. Obviously, in documentaries and non-fiction, where there's a presenter presenting to the screen, they always look at the camera. But in fiction, the camera is never looked at. Sometimes it is, and that's called breaking the fourth wall. Live action. Now, this is just generally people being in scenes. When you see people, most films are live action, of course, unless it's an animation. Then there's a point of view shot. This is a shot from the character's perspective. We see a particular character's point of view. Animation, like I just said, that's opposite to live action. It's where we see cartoons, computer-generated graphics, all that sort of thing. And then juxtaposition, placing something, scenes or shots, side by side to create comparison or contrast. So where we can see something that refers to something else and it makes meaning. Now, so what I want you to look out for in the next clip is intertextuality. References to any kind of media text. Breaking the fourth wall, character acknowledges the audience. Live action, action involving filming of real people. Point of view shot, a shot from the character's perspective. Any animation we might see, and juxtaposition. So I want you to look out for all of those things. And then when you see them, I want you to write them down. I will then go through those and we'll see if you've got what I got. So you should have been looking for intertextuality, breaking the fourth wall, live action, point of view shot, animation, and juxtaposition. Hopefully you saw all of those or some of those. If you didn't, don't worry, go back, have a rewind, see if you can find them. And there we go. So let's have a look. Intertextuality. Now, this is what I got. You might have got something different, but that's absolutely fine. So references to any kind of media text via another media text. And we saw Han Solo in the reflection of the car window. We also saw a Disney style animation. So that is where that text that we were watching was referring to another text. Breaking the fourth wall. Character acknowledges the audience. The Disney bird winked at the audience and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the actor there, smiles and sighs directly to the camera. Live action. Well, most of it was live action, wasn't it? Apart from the animated bird. And we saw point of view shot. Let me just get that out of the way. Sorry. A shot from the character's perspective. We see a particular character's point of view. And what did we see? Him walking down the street, and we saw the way he was looking, and we saw lots of men smiling at him. We saw the animated bird for animation. And finally, for juxtaposition, we saw fountains going off. So the fountains were juxtaposed to him, and they were really representing how happy he was feeling. Now, I hope you got all of those. I hope you enjoyed that. It's just one of the things that we cover in the GCSE media. Please do get in touch with me if you have any questions, and thank you for watching.